Yo, it's D.Arthur in the building. I'm talking to you guys today about attraction goes beyond physical looks, retention attraction. Now, what do I mean by this? Because we have there's two sides of the pendulum. We have people who say that it's just about how a man looks, his physique when it comes to attraction, and then we have people who think no, it's just about how you spike her emotions, like how you make her feel when it comes to attraction. And what I'm here to say is actually it's about both. It really comes down to both, because you can have all the physical attraction that you really want. You can be the most put together just type of dude on the planet, but if you can't spike her emotions, you can't really keep her around. They just get bored way too quickly. You have to have a mixture of both. You have to be physically attractive, and you have to know how to make her emotions go up and down in some sort of good way. This is the only way to pretty much keep attraction. This is pretty much the only way for her to be kind of obsessed with you. For her to be to have core attraction for you, because the thing is, the more clout you have, she's only gonna want to get with you just because of your name. So you really have to start, the more you start rising up in the social ladder, and just how you present yourself, what you have, who you are, your status, and things like that. You have to start looking out, because everybody wants to be your friend. Everyone swears they know you now, but 5 years ago they had no idea who you are. You have to start looking out. This is what tends to happen when the man starts to level up. That's why you have to keep. That's why you have to keep for some friends close to you, but the ones who are just only friends with you just because you quote unquote made it, you quote unquote rised up, then you gotta let them bounce. So the thing is, attraction goes beyond physical looks. It has to. If we're talking about keeping somebody and getting her obsessed with you, having her do favors for you, keeping her around, literally having her be on your mind 24/7, you have to have more than just physical attraction. Because we have the most, like I said, we have the most physically attractive dudes, but they can't keep anybody, because they're not spiking her emotions. They're not making her feel ups and downs. They're not making her think twice. They're not making her question anything. But if you can be physically attractive and you can do these things, then you have the holy grail of attraction. You're in the top 1% in when it comes to attraction. But how do we get to this point? How do we actually get to this point? Because to be honest, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of trial and error. It takes uh it takes a lot of ins and outs to really get to this point. Because you can, that's why it's most important to be full stack, because you can have all the status you want, but then are the girls really with you for you, or just because you have status? You can have all the money you want, but then again, are they really there for you, or just because of what you have? You can be the most physically attractive person on the planet, but is she really there? Is she really just there just because of how you look, or for who you are? So the best thing for you to do is, all those other things I named are good, but the best thing is to create core attraction. Core attraction, meaning regardless of what you have, who you are, what you're becoming, she's still somehow attractive to you. But how do you really do this on a core level? On a core level. See, there's this thing called um where there's this metaphor that people use, where people say, like, you have to be you have to live rent free in her mind, or people say, like, someone lives rent free in your mind. And what does this even mean? It really means is just that someone someone habitually thinks about you, and you're literally like on their mind 24/7. that's pretty much what that really means. But how do you get to this point? You have to have you have to use this thing called an emotional roller coaster, or the scrambler. You have to get to the point where she's she never really has you figured out. Sometimes you're really hot, or sometimes you're really like you want to pursue her, and um you're very like energetic, and you just really want her. And some days you're cold, and you think she's the worst thing ever, and you treat her in maybe a different way, and you're like just really cold on her. But the only way for this to be effective is for her to have initial attraction for you. You have to get her hooked at the beginning. You really have to get her hooked, have her to like you at the beginning, share some things you guys have in common, and really spend some quality time with her. And then and then and then sooner or later, you might just throw a whammy in there. You might just do something that is on on conditional, or on, let's say, on season or traditional, or you just do something a little bit different than maybe what she was expecting. You might have to leave her on red a little bit. You might have to fake on a date a little bit. You just might have to, but this only works if she has initial core attraction for you. This can't work. You can't have her on emotional roller coaster. She was never attached to you at the beginning. This is pretty much what I'm saying. So, like I said, attraction goes beyond physical looks. Physical looks can get your foot in the door that nobody else can get, but but it goes beyond that. If you want to keep her around, if you want her to get like become obsessed with you, if you really want her on a core level, um like I said, attraction goes beyond physical, And the thing about semen retention is semen retention can help you get her hooked, because it changes your behavior. It finally changes your behavior. It makes you change. It makes you perceive life in just a little bit different way. Like it makes you finally into your full masculine frame, where your intuition is very heightened. So you start behaving in a specific and certain way, and this becomes very attractive to people, because you're finally living out your true definition of how you see life. Like you're never like sugarcoating anything anymore. You're pretty much doing what you really think is right, regardless of what anybody's saying. You have core belief in yourself. You have core desire in yourself. You really want to make things the best they can be for yourself, just because you're just starting to love yourself a little bit more. So you have to make your physical reality how you see it, and you're never going to stop until it really gets to that point of where you want it to be. And like I said, all seed retention is doing is just changing your behaviors day in and day out. You're just changing what you do on a core basis. The things that you used to do in the beginning, you're not doing them as much. You're just becoming more comfortable with yourself. And like I said, if you're more comfortable with yourself, and you can do things just a lot more. You can just become a lot more comfortable, and everything is naturally, you're just going to be naturally attractive, just because you're 100% more comfortable. This is the bottom line. Because the thing is, if you're not comfortable with yourself, it's harder to really save for the things that you want. It's harder for you to fight for the things that you want, because you're always thinking that you're always on someone else's opinion of you. You might make yourself small, because you don't think that what you're saying holds any weight, and this just isn't the case. You have to stand up for what you believe in. Your beliefs have your physical reality that you live in has to have all the physical manifestations of the things that you believe in. This is your mission. Everything that you stand for must be physically visible in your reality. And the best way to do this is to, one, change your habits, and be on seed retention. Seed retention can help you change your behaviors over time, so you're just more of a masculine, and you're in your masculine frame 24/7. and people may yield to you instead of you yielding to life. This is the most powerful version that you can become. This is the best thing that you can do for yourself. This is the best thing that you can do for everybody, because once you start becoming your fully developed self, everyone's going to look at that, and now you're impacting other people just by the person that you're becoming. Just by the person that you're becoming. So like I said, attraction goes beyond physical looks. Physical looks will definitely get you more choosing signals. It will get your foot in the door. But if you want obsession, if you want core attraction, if you want her to go to length to run miles for you, then you're gonna have to create that initial attraction, marinate in that for a little bit, and then at some point you're gonna have to something has to a little bit change. Your behaviors might have to change. How you interact with her might change just a little bit, and then the thing is, you're trying to get her to question things, to maybe think about you when you're not physically present. And this just goes by your behaviors. It's called masculine behavioral therapy. Your behaviors, it just starts changing. Your body language starts changing. You become the best heightened version of yourself, and people who are attracted to this will be attracted to you, and people who fear this may flee. It's like bringing a light into a dark room. The flies, the bugs, that either they evaporate or they hover around the light. You're becoming a light worker. You're basically generating a lot of light and positivity into yourself, and you're giving it out to people. And whoever wants to receive this type of energy is going to be naturally attracted to you. You're on similar vibe. You're on natural. You're on similar. You're just similar. You're attracting them in a similar way, if that makes sense. Also, I am doing video consultations to anybody who needs it. So if you really struggle with anything, maybe semen retention, attraction, blah blah blah, anything physical, blah blah blah, click the link below, like the video, comment something. We'll see you in the next one. Peace. Subscribe to